Alright, so your shows for this weekend is the ManCrush with Lucid, Smog Disorder, and Neon Bloom at the Piston.
And then on November 24th, it's the Human Drive, Hidden Iris, and the Saydes, that's Saydes, at Sneaky Dee's early show.
And on November 24th, we have Dirty Bird, High Anxiety, and Iron Moose at SeeScape.
And then on the 25th, we got Baby's First Pistol, what?
The Meringues.
The Meringues.
That's twice you got a fucking mouthful, eh?
Yeah.
What are these fucking band names? Alright. November 25th, we've got Baby's First Pistol, the Meringues, Wasted Youth, SadPlant at the Doc Ellis.
SadPlant.
Fuck. Alright. Dyslexia.
You're doing great.
You know what? Suck your dick.
I would love to suck nothing.
Ew.
Wow. I'm keeping some of these.
You probably have a dick. Keep that one.
Dickhead. Alright, let's try that one again. Alright, November 25th, Baby's First Pistol, the Meringues, Wasted Youth, SadPlant at the Doc Ellis.
Pretty face, he dropped 10 inches to the Bible. Who can take this angel, send us straight to hell? But I'm not just like the cow walk. I look at them sweet lips, wishing to make them talk. Revenge is coming, baby. Nothing more. Revenge is coming, baby. Watch me settle the sky.
So this week we're going to be highlighting ManCrush, which is actually Antony's band.
Yep.
Ashley's going to be interviewing you. We listened to your music on the way here.
Mm-hmm.
It was her first time, so your interview should go pretty well.
Yeah.
Hopefully she gets to learn a little bit more about you guys.
Yeah. It'll be a learning experience for everybody.
Yeah, dope. All right, cool.
So I draw cross down, police are screeching by. This case of sings the stuff that won't attract the fly.
Mm-hmm.
So this week we're going to be talking about how big ticketing platforms and booking agencies affect the music industry.
Oh boy. Another fucking heart attack for me.
What are your thoughts on it?
Oh.
Oof.
Like, I'll kick off by saying this. A convenience fee at like an extra $6 when you don't even get the tangible ticket anymore, and it's just like, they're just sending you an online thing
Yeah,
through an app
QR codes, right?
where they scan it, and I just think, like, there's not really a convenience for that with the amount of other percentages you're already taking. That's just like the we came to fuck you tax, and that's just really what it is to me. But we'll get back to that. Let's educate people first, and then I'll express my anger.
Okay, so a lot of the big ticketing platforms have exclusive deals with venues, artists, and bookers, creating a monopoly on live music events, which kind of means that when they have those exclusive deals, if a smaller promoter comes in or a smaller venue or whatever, they are not able to work with that artist, venue, etc.
Fucked. Yeah.
So yeah, that's like the big thing. Ticketmaster and Live Nation itself, when it merged, now owns 70% of the North American live music and event marketing.
Yeah, which is
It's huge and insane.
that's not right. That's not right.
Because it's
Morally.
one platform that owns 70% and leaves I'm like 30% of like all, like, and this is like Canada and the States, right? So that is like any small promoters, all that, we all have to fight over that 30%.
Yeah. I'm just that was an exhale of like lack of composition, but I'm trying. Continue.
No, that's what I've got for you right now.
Right.
There's more, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, well that makes me remember Ticketfly?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing. And then there was also the there was Soundscape up on College that used to print their own tickets. I remember that. I still have a couple of those tickets. Like holding a tangible ticket even now is an added price. Like they're like, we'll print it for you.
But you have to add like an extra.
Right. So even if you can't afford a band T-shirt, the thing that was most affordable as like a keepsake
was the ticket, and you
Yeah.
can't. Yeah.
and now I
can't
gotta
do that.
and now I gotta pay. You know, I gotta pay a $20 service charge on top of like an $80 ticket price, and then
Well, sometimes more than $80
yeah.
with inflations and stuff like that. And like the way that they're doing it now is the more interest they have in a show, the higher the ticket price is.
I know, and it's just like, it's just sad and disheartening because I miss the day when it was just like you could go to Sunrise and then you know at call time at 10 a.m. and stand at the Ticketmaster box office that they had, and then you would buy the tangible ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd have that. And then I remember going to the Opera House and seeing bands and being like, can you sign my ticket, man? And like, they would sign your tickets. Now I got this thing immortalized for the rest of my life, which is like this ticket signed by like at least one member by like the whole bill that night. And, you know, because I couldn't afford a fucking t-shirt, you know? And it just sucks because like you're taking away such a novelty, or you're making like, hey man, if I want to go just support this artist that I think is like pretty cool, I gotta spend, like, it's an investment night.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing too is like you're just talking about like the big things. What a lot of people don't realize is that Ticketmaster and Live Nation also own some of our smaller venues as well. Like we were talking about in the last segment, the Danforth Music Hall, History, Opera House, and Velvet Underground all have deals with them. So these are smaller venues that smaller bands should be playing in, hometown bands with like hometown promoters that are, you know, trying our best to fucking deal with our shit, that are eating up all these venues so that they can bring in their artists that they have their exclusive deals with, leaving just no space for anybody who isn't signed, doesn't have these deals, isn't even recognized by these bigger companies.
Yeah, and it just takes more out of the bands. Like I'm friends with the Blue Stones, and I was hanging out with them at the Opera House after one of their gigs, and it was one of those things where, you know, I've known them since like Rancho days. So watching them go from like Rancho Relaxo into the Horseshoe, and I'm just like, man, you guys must be fucking killing it. Like, you guys don't need jobs because you're in a band that's like fucking killing it. And then they were just like, nah. I mean, like a little bit, but not really. It's just more just more hands in the pie.
Yeah.
And it's already like Live Nation now. It's just like if you're looking at the pie for bands, it's just like here's a good chunk being like, well, this is going to come to us for your live shows.
Well, yeah.
And it's just evil.
So Live Nation has been under investigation multiple times. And there was Crete who tried to counterbalance the pricing by setting their tickets at $20, and then there was all these like service charges that came out of fucking nowhere. So Ticketmaster still took the money that they were gonna get regardless. You know, they've been under investigation for threatening venues and stuff for not using their specific ticket platform, which means even if me as a small promoter goes into one of their venues because they have these exclusive deals, I now all of a sudden have to use Ticketmaster as my ticketing platform, even though I have my own ticketing platform, because they have that exclusive deal. And yeah, so they're under investigation right now because of all of it.
That's, yeah, I don't like that, you know. It's nice when you get bands like, you know, The Cure as well, who were just like, hold the fuck up. Like, this is insane. And then it was a pretty sweet day when I got money back from my Cure ticket.
Yeah.
Because Live Nation was like, yeah, I guess you're right. You know?
But that's because the band pushed for it, right? And there's tons of bands that are smaller
that can't push
for it.
I know, and it's just, but it's the fact that, like, the open secret of everyone knows they're taking money. You know, everyone knows that what they're doing, how much they're charging people, and everything else, and the overall amount of complacency is shitty, because it's not as, because if the venues probably could, I'm not gonna lie, with like certain scenes and certain bands, probably would do better on an off night than what they would on a fucking Live Nation night, because it deters people for wanting to go because they have to pay that much more, and it's not right.
Mm-hmm. So my question, and this is where I'm like not understanding, is like, if they're charging so much more and if they're fucking over everybody, how is it that everybody's gonna go to a Live Nation show, pay that much, but then still not show up for your smaller promoters and your smaller bands? Like,
because it's, I mean, let's be real, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, going to see, let's use The Cure for an example, right? Knowing how much it is, it's $60, you fucking love this band, and then when you want to go to a local show to support a band or support a scene, it's like, you could probably see 3 local shows for the cost of that one Cure show, but then you also got to add in, well, it's like, well, I'm going to want to have a couple drinks, you know? So, if you go to, well, no, I mean, like, straight up, like, well, yeah, I want to go have a couple drinks, and you do, and everybody does, you know? And you're going down there at the Buzz stage, and again, it's like, there's $12 for a beer, so that's even, now you're looking at, like, almost, you know, 3 times that. So, it's a little nuts. It's not fair. It's local, but hey, Lexy. It's,
you need your gallon of water.
I did not need a gallon of water.
It's just like, it's just not right. What I'm trying to say is, it's just the amount that it costs to go to see that one band that you love, that you might have never seen before, or maybe only once in your life, to maybe go ahead and support that local band that you can see a bunch. It's like, I get why people are hard to make the decision, especially in this fucking economy. What are you gonna do?
Okay. What's your solution?
What's the solution?
Coffee now?
I think right? I think the solution would be if somehow, through like the artists unions and things like that, there was a way to unite in a bigger number to just tell Live Nation to fuck off. Like, there was already a giant missed opportunity when The Cure already was like, yeah, fuck off. And then a couple other bands were like, yeah, we're gonna do it too. And it could have been a whole lot more, you know? Like, if you get
they still did the shows with them.
Because there isn't any direct other system in play to support that of sheer volume of ticket purchasing.
I have a solution that I don't think anybody's gonna love, but it is a solution. We need the bigger bands to come in, and instead of doing one giant ass show with Live Nation, plan yourself to be here for a fucking week, do a bunch of smaller venues with a bunch of smaller promoters, and put the money back into the cities instead of into Ticketmaster's hands.
Yeah, no, I'm not against. I think that's actually a great idea. One thing that I was like, Alexis on Fire, when they dropped Crisis, they did that whole Christmas thing where they played like Crisis and like a bunch of other stuff, and they played at, one of the gigs was at the Reverb, and I saw them at back when it was the Cool House, when that was a thing. But the fact that they even played the Big Bop for one of those nights, when they played like 3 or 4 times around the city in smaller venues, was great, you know. And I think like they have one of the guys from Monine came out at the one at the Reverb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that did a lot.
And here's the thing, is these big stadium shows, like, who are they really helping? Because, yeah, it gives, like, there's a bunch of jobs and all that shit, but it's like, realistically, that money, all of it, other than the fact that they pay local workers, none of that money goes back into the city. Let's be fucking real. None of that money goes back into the city. It goes right back into Ticketmaster's hands, whatever, because they fucking own those giant venues anyways. The only way to put that money back into the artists and the venue's hands, as well as, or the city's hands, and as well as supporting local, like, music scenes, these bigger artists need to just fucking cut their shit, you know, get into these smaller venues with these smaller promoters, do a week long in Toronto or wherever, book different openers from local scenes, and, you know, do a different venue every night, do a different promoter every night, get that scene motivated to see these local spots and these local promoters and these local artists, get them coming out and get those local people paid instead of Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
That's my solution.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Well, that's a good one. I haven't thought about it because I'm just so goddamn angry.
I actually have an opinion on that.
You got an opinion, Lex?
Yeah, I got an opinion on that.
Alright, what's your opinion?
Why don't you come over here and tell us about your opinion? Here, why don't you sit on down then?
Alright, thanks, Anthony.
You're welcome.
Thanks, buddy. So I feel like that's something that, like, a few promoters out here, like, including us, have been, like, really trying to, like, focus on as well, is, like, getting some of these, like, headliners, so-called headliners out here. And it's like, we can't, like, as DIY promoters, we can't necessarily afford to have out bands like fucking Blink-182, you know? Like,
that's
where
what
their
I'm saying.
guarantees are insane.
That's what I'm saying. If they
But-
just cut their shit for like one go.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
You
It's like
know?
their guarantees are insane, but if we're getting, like, the people who like, there's so many amazing, like, especially punk bands out in the US, and they can't even come over here, and they're not coming over here. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, people here listen to you. Like, come out, be here more. Like, it's got to be like an ongoing ecosystem, like you were saying before. It's like, it can't just be like, it doesn't have to just be like the big headlining bands, but
I'm
when
just
we
saying,
have any touring bands come through here, that really brings in a revenue for these,
of course,
for everyone, for especially the venues and the bands, you know. And it's like, there's so many, like, companies like ourselves that, like, just constantly taking hits just to try to help other people. And, like, why should we have to, when, like, there's so many ways where all of us can thrive. And I feel like that's something that we've been really trying to, like, achieve ourselves, and, like, other promoters should start trying to achieve as well, is, like,
100%.
working together, like Bowser. You know, we often look at, like, what Bone Crusher has, Fuck You 2 Productions, Riot Squad Media in the US now. You know, like, keeping track of, like, what everybody's doing and, like, working together, so we are not, like, also oversaturating ourselves. Like, as locals, we tend to oversaturate ourselves, and the bands are definitely oversaturating.
Something else for another time.
Yeah.
That is our next topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, what I'm saying is it would be great to kickstart it and just fucking, like, be a good fuck you to, like, these bigger companies, is if some of these bigger bands like Blink-182 said, fuck it, I'll make what I make. They're still gonna make a great fucking chunk of money regardless.
It's fucking Blink-182.
But if they took a little bit of a dive just to support the local scenes, they're making their money anyways.
So many of them forget what it's like to have to go through
Or-
that process all over again, too.
Or, here's an idea. If people are already paying that ticket price to see Blink-182 at the fucking Skydome, which is going to sound like shit, they could literally keep the same ticket price and play a smaller room, multiple smaller rooms over the course of a week,
Yeah, that's basically
and they'll
what I'm
make
saying.
Yeah.
just as much money.
Yeah.
You could add it up
Yeah.
because the Skydome sucks. I'm sorry.
Get back in your hole.
Hey, watch my coffee there.
Yo. All right.
All right, well, that's enough for this week. At least you know, what we were talking about had like is kind of gonna drag into like what we have to talk about next week.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Okay. Yay. What do I do? What are you doing? Put on music.
At the tabloids and what they say. So I head to the house of our fiancé. Lights are on, he's inside, and he's with a girl, and it's not the bride. Revenge is coming, baby. Nothing more. Revenge is coming, baby. I'm a killing from the night. You will know my name.
We are here with ManCrush. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Antony.
I'm Tim. I play guitar.
I
There
play.
you go.
Yeah. I do bass and vocals.
I guess I also do vocals. I
We
guess
share vocals.
Yeah, we share them.
We legit share.
Sharing is caring, you know.
100%.
LeVar Burton would be proud of us.
Very much so.
Bernie, the whole shebang. Anyways, this is your interview.
No, I was enjoying that. Yeah, it was great. All right, so we're gonna pretend nobody knows you guys, and
Can't get more real than that.
and I want you guys to describe your band.
Rock and roll, and I don't mean that in a broad sense. I mean like we kind of like all of our songs are like very different and different styles of rock and roll, and we just kind of celebrate that.
Rock and roll. Bonehead rock and roll.
Oh, yeah?
Basic rock and roll. Four to the floor rock and roll. But rock and roll where we stole a lot of things, but you didn't know where we stole them from. And that's the rock and roll I play.
That's fair. We were listening to you guys in the car on the way down here, and we couldn't, like, usually I'm like, all right, they kind of sound like this band or this band, and we could not place anything. Which is, like, a good thing.
I think so. You
Yeah.
know, like a good artist steals, but you don't. I don't know what the phrase is, but
I get it.
there's a phrase there out
Do
there.
you guys have inspirations?
Oh yeah. I mean well, I'll tell you what. I could name like 3 artists that like I would say were inspired by, and Tim would probably name another 3 and it'd be different. But like I would say, for like myself, for the band, there's a little bit of Thin Lizzy. There's definitely Black Keys, sorry. And I would say, I just want to say Motorhead because that's like, I'm heavily influenced by Lemmy because I love him so much.
Myself personally, I would actually say the Black Lips.
Yeah,
You kind of
that's what
threw
I
me
meant.
off with your statement there. And then I'd say
I wasn't sure which Black one
probably the Clash, and just probably BB King. Like that's huge inspiration right there. I steal a lot of his stuff.
Yeah, because there's some blues and there's some 4 to the floor rock in there.
It's rock and roll. That's it.
Yeah.
It's
'Cause-
easy as that.
Because the other thing too is Declan has a whole other set of like influences. That,
Like being good.
yeah, well, he is the most talented member of the band. You are literally talking to the hacks of ManCrush.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Uh,
Declan is a talented one.
Yeah, definitely. Gotta have a good drummer.
Oh yeah. You're as good as your drummer.
So, how does it go when you guys are making music then, considering?
He's the talented one.
Yeah.
Well, he writes nothing.
No.
He writes and he rips apart everything and just shits on everything, and that's not Declan. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Hey Sarah, I don't know if I just ruined the interview, but the thing is that what I'm trying to say is that like he contributes nothing except really exceptional good drums, and then Ann and I bring authenticity and creativity and ourselves out in our songs and our lyrics and our four to the floor nonsense, and he just really tightens us up.
So basically in terms of like songwriting, it's either like Tim or I will come in with an idea, whether it be like a riff and like lyrics usually, and then Declan is really good at, like, he's just gonna clean that right up. And then usually in terms of like writing like a chorus or like getting a hook in there, that's like a band discussion / like one of us will come up with something. Declan's also really good at coming up with like backing vocal melodies.
Yeah, harmonies.
Because, yeah, and the reason why Tim and I also pick on him is because he and I, like, I know that I've written something that's catchy when Declan starts making fun of it.
True. And we make fun of a lot of your stuff, so.
We make fun of each other's stuff all the time, but my stuff, yes, gets a bit of the rip.
Definitely.
But yeah, I don't know about you. That's kind of how it goes for me and how we write.
I would agree with that. That's pretty much it. Just you just bring it there. We try to be, as the two of us, to be as prepared as possible. No one likes just coming there with a riff when our lives are so busy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, unless there's time for it. But on the most part, it's pretty organic in the fact that it's just like I have an idea and it's pretty fleshed out, and then we're able to go out there and come to practice, 1-2 practices, and pretty much it's in the bag.
Yeah, and then another cool thing too that happens every now and again is like, there's one time when I wrote a riff, and we were playing it a couple times in band, and then one time Tim just comes down the stairs and he just goes, "That's not how you want to play it. You want to play it like this." And then he sped it up, and then he was like, "And then you can go into like this." And then he just took what I initially wrote and turned it into something else, and that was like, that's really fun when you can be like that lucid and with each other.
Fair. So, how did you guys get started?
Whoa.
You can take this one. You don't.
Well, Ant and I went to the same high school, but I'm 2 years younger than Ant.
Yeah.
And he used to hang out with my brother, but Ant was always the guy in bands. And I was an aspiring musician, so Ant would always help me find the gigs through it, because Ant's always been in the know. He's always been the guy that's been in the scene. And so I would just be, "Hey, I need a gig." And Ant would be like, "Yep, throw you on this bill." And wicked. Then years go down, time goes by, and he asked me to, "You want to take it from here?"
Yeah, sure. So it kind of gets to a point where, so Tim is in and out of bands, and I was in a band where I was just getting kind of like stagnant creatively. And a friend of mine who I worked with at Starbucks, I was the best man at his 80s wrestling themed Egyptian wedding. That is a fact. It was, everyone was dressed up in costume, including some guests. And we had to form a band for his wedding, and I needed a drummer, I needed a guitar player, I needed everything. And next thing you know, I asked Tim, and he's like, "Yup." And I asked Declan, who I met through my buddy Tommy and Greg, and he was like, "I want to drum," because he didn't know anybody who played music here. So then we formed this band for this wedding. And then after the wedding, it was kind of just like, I remember we were walking, and it was just like, I just kind of want to be in a band with you. And it was like, I just kind of want to be in a band with you and Declan. And then that was basically it.
Wasn't that adorable?
It's pretty adorable. I didn't want to do the wedding at first, but then they said it was an 80s wrestling themed wedding, and I had to say yes just to see it. I couldn't.
Sold you.
Could not fathom what this could be like.
I mean, fair.
It was next level, and like the groom came out like full on. Bass came out like the Undertaker. Yeah, like he had a smoke machine entrance, and because he works in film, Basil DeHood, he's in a bunch of shit. Look him up. Fuck, I'm gonna promote the guy. Anyway, he knows all these people in film and shit, so they had like a full on like theatrical stage entrance for his like groom walk. It was insane. It was his wedding. It was insane.
It was one for the books.
Yep.
That's what I was saying.
And the good news is the band has lasted longer than the wedding. The whole marriage.
Well,
The whole marriage. The band lasted longer than.
I didn't want to go there, but you did.
I did.
So, well, next question,
Hopefully
please.
that's not a bad omen. Okay, so if you guys were to pick one song to give to somebody who's never heard your music before,
Whoa.
what song would it be and why?
Like recorded, or I guess it would have to be one of our recorded songs,
It
right?
would have to be one of our recorded songs.
Jeez. Personally, I go with our latest one, The Sting, which I wrote. It took me a long time to get that one out there, but it really characterizes my style of riffage, but also storytelling, and my love of comic books and film noir. So really just bringing all that together with rock and roll is really just an odd and crazy way to make you understand the dynamics of what we do. Other than that, Like Me's a great one as well. Started bringing two, but just to say that my anxiety for social media really drove me to write that song. So I think that's something that's very catchy, just like social media. So I think that's something people can get their heads around. But less about me, more about you.
Well, I would say because we split. So here's the thing with ManCrush is that we split the lead vocals essentially 50-50 between the songs. So for me, being fucked selfish, I would be like, you should listen to Sour Candy, because that's also like, to go with Tim, it's also something that like kind of encapsulates what we do. You got a fucking face melter of a solo on it. It was like, it's kind of pretty visceral in my performance on it. Well, it was the first song I ever wrote. Legit. First song I ever wrote in my life. And then the second song would probably be, Like Me. You know? Or The Sting. Probably The Sting. Just because.
That one song.
Sorry. So yeah, I'd say Sour Candy, and if you don't like that, you should go to The Sting.
Perfect. All right. Well,
There you go.
snuck those in there.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
I mean, I guess you're like really selling it, so you gotta sneak another one in.
You got two. I got two.
Tell me about the name.
Whoa.
That's you, buddy.
Okay, so we formed the band, and we're just a band. How do you form a name? And we came up with probably 150 names, and we wrote them all down.
Oh yeah.
And,
It was a great.
We were so fighting over it. Just the amount of names that were on there, they're all terrible. All terrible names.
Oh fuck, they're all real bad.
Real bad names.
Gravity Falcon.
Gravity Falcon. Eagle Lips. Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get into this, but we decided that ManCrush, for what it was, now it seems dated, but regardless, at the time was topical, but it seemed as though it was just enough to be a little bit sexy, which is in turn a little bit rock and roll. So we kind of just settled on that. I think someone left the band because of the name when we had a fourth member, but ManCrush stuck. And
I like the way it was said. I like the fact that it's like what it kind of plays on with ManCrush. And it was just how it rolled off the tongue. It just felt right. It just felt right for the band and what we were like trying to do, and how we write our songs, and just kind of like what we're about as like people. Like kind of like every band kind of also has like a code of like, you know, like what you believe in and like kind of what you want to do, and just like how you feel about music in general. And I felt like, you know, that with like our sense of humor of who we are as people, really like ManCrush was kind of, you know, the way to go. Just felt right.
I'll agree with that. I'll go with that. I don't know what else to say on it. Other than
Alright.
it's just,
That's
I think it's catchy enough. So
That's fair.
a name is a name. You can paint a turd any way you want, you know. But if it's a turd, it's a turd.
Yeah.
So
And it
names
was
don't
easy.
change that.
And it was also when it's just like, okay, well, what do you like when you come with a band name? It's like, okay, well, how's it gonna look? And then like, what's the logo? And then like all that type of shit.
You're getting too far into it, buddy.
But fuck, you want to know how it looks?
That's
Hey.
alright. So you were talking earlier about your love of like comic books and stuff like that. So another question that I love asking people, because like everybody goes to their musical inspirations, but like what are your non-musical inspirations when you guys are writing?
Oh, definitely. Do you want to go first? You go first. I think I answered the last one.
Sure. Pop culture. I heard a lot of shit about that. Heartbreak. Like, I'll write a song about like how I'm feeling, and then within that, I'm gonna write like some pop culture references and like things like that in there. I think that kind of comes with the humor of the band. It's also just me because I'm a giant fucking nerd. Like, they call me B-sides in the band. So like, if you're a nerd at all and you like find something like, I think it's like, did you take this line from this movie? There's a good chance I've probably written a song and you're like, that's a line read out of a fucking movie that a character said. You know? So like a lot of movies, comics as well, you know, pop culture in general, and just my heart and what I'm feeling. And I merge those two together.
Myself, I'm a huge labor activist. So I see a lot of things. I get to go to a lot of places sometimes. I get to hear a lot of stories. Get to be told to read a lot of books, which is normally for the best. Because normally, you know, any books that I want to read it's normally garbage on the most part. So when someone goes and says, you know, like, read the skin I'm in, you know, and I read these things and I take in so much, and eventually some of it just spills out. That's pretty much all I can say about it.
You also, yeah, and like I would say with your writing too, you also like, you put in a good voice for people that don't necessarily feel comfortable saying things. Like Me has that, especially, you know?
It's my voice. No. But yeah, I mean, just you just take in so much information, so much. You know, I'm not an empath by any means, but you know, eventually you take in so much, and eventually it's got to go somewhere. And normally music's that place for me. And these guys have to deal with it. So
yeah.
All right. I want to hear whether it is a backstage story, a tour story, a jam story. What is your favorite band story?
Do you have to think? Because I got mine.
please do.
Okay,
I
cool.
have zero memory.
So the first show we did was Sneaky Dee's, and here's another cool thing about Declan is Declan also went through like a bit of a body transformation. He used to be the guy in the band that liked to eat, and now he's like the fit dad of us, you know. So before the show, I think Tim, you drew the abs on his stomach.
Yeah.
And so he had these fake cartoon abs underneath his t-shirt. So we're in the gig, it's our first show, and like you can tell people are like really digging it. And you're playing in front of your friends, you know. So Tim broke his string, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go back and change it." And we had to buy some time. So as soon as Tim walks off to go change his string, Declan just looks at me and does this like a I got this, and then goes, "Hey, everybody, want to see my abs?" And then just took off his shirt and then started rubbing himself as you saw like this fucking Sharpie drawn ab on his gut. And that was how Declan bought time for the band. Oh, for Tim to, there you go Nick. Yeah, sorry, for Tim to change the string and for the show to go on, because the show must go on. And that was for me a moment that stuck out, because whoever thought that drawn on abs would ever come in handy to buy time.
I would definitely say it was pre-ManCrush. It was definitely that wedding. It is the best, worst show I've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get into it because I have a lot of respect for bass. But it's to just say the ending of it is that at the end of the show there were so many lasers at this wedding that someone what do you call it?
Had an epileptic seizure.
Shit.
And then all the lights came on, and then all the conservative Egyptian folks, they just left, and the wedding was over. And so we played a set that was longer than it should have been, and everyone left, and then we were given like six cases of blue, and then we went to a party out in East York, and
with beef.
I did some drugs, and it was a good time.
Yeah,
rock and roll. It was probably my favorite day with the band.
That was yeah.
Oh, and we were all dressed. I was dressed up as Sting.
You were dressed up as the rest of Sting.
And the Uber driver didn't want me in because he thought I was the devil.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll go with that. But yeah.
Good memory. That was a very good memory. I remember because you guys went to the party at Beef's.
Yeah.
Give it up to Tyler Britton, who works at the Only Cafe. You guys went to that party. You're like, you coming? I'm like, no, I'm going to bed. Because I had to, like, deal with his conservative, his old man. Anyway, that's another topic for
Another day.
What's coming up next for you guys?
Well, I'd have to say that we have an album coming out.
Yeah.
Which is just a couple more things have to be tweaked on it. Mainly me. Not that I have to be tweaked because I already am. I mean, no, that's not what I'm supposed to say. But what I am supposed to say is that there's just tying up the loose ends on it, and I don't know when that will come out. But it should be relatively soon, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be sometime next year. You guys will get it, and it'll be nice. And it'll be 8 tracks of fun and tomfoolery and laughs and rock and roll and all that shit. And we're also playing November 23rd at the Piston with Neon Bloom and Lucid Smog Disorder. And I'm looking forward to that because we haven't played since fucking Garrison earlier this year.
That is correct. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
So yeah.
Is there any like themes or anything going on in your new album that like we can get like a taste of?
I say no. I'd say we're just trying to catch up. This is like Sunday morning, hungover breakfast. You're just doing the work to get it on the plate, and it's just straight bangers. That's all it is. Just the potato and banger after banger after banger on this album, because it's just we've been terrible at recording stuff.
Yeah, we've been really good as of late, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we got it kind of going on recently. We've had a bit of a system, but yeah, I mean, it'll come out, and it'll be good. I'm excited for it. It's really just, there's no real theme. Yeah.
I think we're just trying to prove to the world that we are the world's greatest opening band.
Yeah. No,
And
it's
that is-
legit.
That is what we want to be.
Yeah, and I think if anything,
It's a goal.
because everything is, like, all the songs are very different. It's like a ManCrush mixtape in that, like, you can kind of put it on and there's all different
that's a
styles
thing.
of rock and roll in there, you know?
Alright.
Yeah.
So before we wrap this up, we're gonna give you guys a chance to just promote yourselves and your stuff. Tell people where to find you, all that good stuff.
We're on everything. And when I mean everything, when we upload our songs, I click on everything to get us on everything. So if you have a streaming service, I don't give a shit if it's fucking Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Google, fucking Tidal, fucking Bandcamp. I don't give a shit what it is. You can get it if you know where you find your local music. It's there. It's on Snapchat. We're on TikTok. You know, everything. We're there. Just listen. YouTube.
And also we're in this alleyway, which is, you can always find us here on the most part, which, Ant, can we say where it is?
The ManCrush Mansion.
Yes.
Currently, we're in the MCM Grand.
Just off Queen Street, near Bathurst.
Yeah.
But, get a hold of us on all the social medias of which he just said, and he will get right back to you.
I will. On Instagram, Facebook, and that's it. We don't
You
actually.
might want to say your name on there because there's a very specific.
Oh yeah,
name.
it's
Not
we
really
are
that
it's
ManCrush.
yeah, it's we are ManCrush on Instagram. Thank you for that.
Sorry, we couldn't be the first man crush on the social medias. We almost were,
No.
but we have to say we are the man crush.
Yeah.
So we are man crush. We are man crush.
We are ManCrush.
We are man crush.
Okay, thanks guys.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you
you.
so much.
And they call me the stick. So I grabbed my nine, shoot through the back. I thought I held the ace, but all I held was Jack. As I walked in, who was standing there but the fiance's guy with a gun